Me, 29, gender studies professor at liberal arts college in Portland. Spent 6 years getting PhD studying feminist theory and toxic masculinity. Teach dismantling patriarchal dating culture to 200 plus students per semester. Wrote thesis on how traditional masculine traits are harmful to society. Convinced that feminism is liberating both men and women from outdated gender roles. Course curriculum focuses on deconstructing male behavior. Teach students that confidence is toxic masculinity. Assertiveness is patriarchal dominance. Traditional courtship is heteronormative oppression. Men pursuing women aggressively is literally violence. Students eat this shit up, rate my classes 5 stars every semester. My dating life reflects my feminist principles perfectly. Only date men who've done extensive therapy and unlearned masculinity. Partner must be emotionally available, vulnerable, and completely non-aggressive. No traditional gender roles. We split everything 50-50. He should cry more than me and never make me feel pursued. This is what healthy, evolved relationships look like. Currently dating Trevor, 31, perfect feminist ally. Met at poetry reading about dismantling capitalism. He's sensitive artist who works part-time at organic food co-op. Cries during romantic movies. Asks permission before every kiss. Never makes decisions without consulting me first. Exactly the kind of man I've been teaching women to find. Trevor embodies everything feminism says men should be. Completely in touch with his emotions, rejects toxic masculinity. Lets me lead in relationship, never pressures me for anything. Supports my career, does housework, practices enthusiastic consent. On paper he's perfect, so why do I feel absolutely nothing? 6 months into relationship, and I'm bored out of my mind. Trevor asks, "How are you feeling?" 17 times per day. Needs validation for every minor decision he makes. In bed, he's so concerned about my consent, he kills all passion. Where's the spark? The chemistry? The actual attraction? Start noticing pattern in my dating history. Every feminist-approved man I've dated left me cold. The sensitive guys, the therapy enthusiasts, the male feminists. All technically perfect, but zero sexual chemistry. Meanwhile, I kept thinking about my ex Jake from college. Jake was everything feminism taught me to avoid. Confident to point of arrogance, naturally took charge. Never asked permission, just went for what he wanted. Made decisions without consulting anyone, including me. Classic toxic masculine behavior that I should have hated. But I was obsessed with him for 3 years. Broke up with Jake because feminism told me he was bad for me. His confidence was intimidating other voices. His decisiveness was patriarchal control. His sexual assertiveness was concerning and problematic. My feminist friends convinced me I was in an abusive relationship, even though I'd never been happier or more attracted to anyone. Now I'm with perfect feminist man and feeling dead inside. Trevor's emotional availability feels like weakness. His constant need for validation is deeply unsexy. When he asks permission before kissing me, I lose all desire. Starting to wonder if feminism fucked up my attraction patterns. Decide to research this phenomenon for academic paper. Surely other feminist women are thriving with evolved men. Interview 47 women from my feminist theory classes. Ask about their dating experiences with feminist-approved men. Results are absolutely shocking and completely unpublishable. Greater than 92% admit they're not sexually attracted to male feminists, despite believing these men are morally superior partners. They describe feeling safe but not excited. Relationships lacking passion, spark, and sexual tension. Many staying for ideology while fantasizing about different men. Sarah, 24, dating sensitive musician for 2 years. Says he's perfect on paper, but she's never been wet around him. Fantasizes about dominant men while having sex with her boyfriend. Feels guilty about these thoughts, but can't help herself. Considering breakup despite knowing he's objectively better. Jessica, 27, engaged to male feminist therapist. Describes him as wonderful human but terrible lover. He's so concerned about consent he asks before every touch. Sex feels like signing legal documents rather than passion. She masturbates to romance novels about dominant billionaires. Planning wedding while secretly hoping for different desires. Megan, 26, serial dates only feminist men. None last longer than 6 months despite perfect compatibility. Says they feel more like girlfriends than romantic partners. Misses being pursued, desired, even objectified sometimes. Admits she wants to be taken, but that's politically incorrect. Pattern emerges from every single interview. Women intellectually appreciate feminist men's qualities, but physically and sexually attracted to traditional masculine traits. They're splitting their desires from their politics, creating cognitive dissonance that's killing their relationships. Start researching evolutionary psychology behind attraction. Despite my feminist training telling me this field is pseudoscience. Find compelling evidence about biological attraction patterns. Women evolved to be attracted to confident, decisive, protective men. These traits signaled genetic fitness and resource provision. Modern feminism fights millions of years of evolutionary programming. Study shows women's cortisol drops around confident men, while rising around men who display uncertainty and neediness. Testosterone levels in decisive men trigger female attraction responses. Even self-identified feminists show these biological patterns. Our politics don't override our evolutionary wiring. Research on sexual fantasy reveals uncomfortable truths. Greater than 85% of women fantasize about being dominated during sex. Romance novels, 90% female readership, feature dominant male leads. Women's brains light up for confidence, not sensitivity. 50 Shades of Grey outsold every feminist text combined. Maybe our bodies know something our ideologies don't. Realize I need to examine my own attraction patterns honestly. Make list of men I've been most attracted to throughout life. Every single one exhibited toxic masculine traits. Confidence, decisiveness, slight emotional unavailability. The men who pursued me aggressively, not those who asked permission. High school boyfriend who was star quarterback. College fling with arrogant business major. Brief affair with older professor who took charge completely. All relationships feminism would classify as problematic, but also only times I felt genuine desire and sexual chemistry. Meanwhile, every feminist-approved relationship felt forced. Like I was dating them because I should, not because I wanted to. Trying to convince myself attraction would grow over time. But you can't negotiate desire or politically correct your way to chemistry. My body kept rejecting what my mind said was right. Start noticing this pattern among female students too. They parrot feminist talking points about wanting sensitive men, but hook up exclusively with fraternity bros and athletes. The same toxic guys they criticize in my classes. Their actions completely contradict their stated preferences. One student stays after class to discuss this privately. Admits she's attracted to her boyfriend's friend, who's total red flag. He's confident, slightly cocky, makes decisions without asking. She knows she should want her sensitive feminist boyfriend instead, but can't help being drawn to traditionally masculine energy. Another student having crisis about her dating preferences. Only attracted to men who exhibit confidence and leadership. But feminism taught her these traits are toxic and problematic. She's trying to force attraction to gentle, emotional men, ending up celibate because she can't reconcile desires with politics. Decide to survey broader population outside my liberal bubble. Interview women across political spectrum about attraction patterns. Results show same preferences regardless of feminist identification. Conservative women, liberals, and moderates all attracted to confidence. Biological imperatives transcend political ideologies. Even militant feminists admit privately being turned on by dominance. They just feel shame about natural attraction patterns. Some develop elaborate justifications for their problematic desires. Others suppress sexuality entirely rather than face contradiction. Feminism accidentally created an epidemic of sexual dysfunction. Interview sex therapists about trends they're seeing. Massive increase in women unable to feel attraction. Particularly educated, feminist-identifying women in their 20s to 30s. They've intellectualized attraction to point of killing it. Trying to rewire millions of years of evolution through ideology. Dr. Martinez, couples therapist, sees this daily. Women dating perfect feminist men, but feeling no spark. They want to be attracted, but biology doesn't follow politics. Relationships becoming sexless because passion requires polarity. When everyone's the same, nobody's turned on. She explains sexual polarity theory I dismissed as patriarchal. Attraction requires masculine and feminine energy and tension. Doesn't matter who has which, but difference creates chemistry. When men become completely feminized, polarity disappears. Result is great friendships, but zero sexual attraction. Start questioning everything I've taught for 6 years. Did feminism accidentally destroy the very thing that creates desire? By eliminating masculine traits, did we eliminate male attractiveness? Are we creating a generation of women unable to feel turned on? Maybe there's difference between toxic behavior and masculine energy. Research historical attraction patterns across cultures. Every society that thrived had some form of masculine/feminine polarity. When cultures eliminated gender differences, birth rates collapsed. Sexual satisfaction plummeted. Relationships became unstable. Maybe traditional patterns existed for biological reasons. Look at modern dating statistics with new perspective. Women report lower sexual satisfaction than ever before, despite having most evolved and feminist men in history. Antidepressant use highest among educated liberal women. Birth rates lowest in most feminist countries. Connection might not be coincidental. Start experimenting with my own attraction patterns. Go on dates with traditionally masculine men I'd normally avoid. Construction worker, military veteran, business owner. All confident, decisive, naturally took charge. Feel more chemistry in one evening than 6 months with Trevor. The cognitive dissonance is overwhelming. Everything I've taught says these men are toxic, but my body responds to their energy in ways it never did with feminist men. Am I betraying my principles or finally being honest about biology? Maybe attraction isn't politically correct, and that's okay. Break up with Trevor after honest conversation. Explain that I need different kind of energy in relationship. He cries and asks what he did wrong. The fact that he's asking instead of knowing is part of problem. He's wonderful human, but terrible match for my biology. Start dating Mark, 34, owns construction company. Everything feminism taught me to reject in a man. Makes decisions quickly, leads conversations, pursues me actively. Never asks permission before kissing me, just reads the moment. For first time in years, I feel genuinely turned on. Feel guilty about being attracted to his problematic traits. His confidence shouldn't be sexy, but it absolutely is. When he takes charge, I feel feminine in ways I'd forgotten. The sexual chemistry is off the charts. Maybe this is what I've been missing all along. Realize feminism might have overcorrected on masculinity. There's difference between toxic behavior and masculine energy. Confidence isn't toxicity. Decisiveness isn't oppression. Being pursued isn't violence. Polarity isn't patriarchy. We threw out biology with the bathwater of actual abuse. Start revising my course curriculum quietly. Can't openly contradict feminist doctrine without losing job. But begin teaching about healthy masculinity instead of eliminating it. Discuss difference between toxic behavior and natural male traits. Students seem relieved to explore these ideas. Female students start admitting their real attraction patterns. They want to be feminists, but biology doesn't cooperate. Many developing eating disorders and anxiety around sexuality. Trying to force attraction to men they're not wired to want. Creating internal war between politics and biology. One student breaks down crying after class. Says she's never been attracted to anyone her mind says she should want. Feels broken and ashamed of her natural desires. Considering therapy to fix her internalized misogyny. I tell her maybe there's nothing wrong with her attraction patterns. Male students opening up about emasculation experiences. They've learned to suppress all traditionally masculine traits. Afraid to show confidence, make decisions, or pursue women. Many are virgins despite being kind, intelligent men. Feminism accidentally made them unsexy to very women they're trying to attract. Start wondering if we've created lose-lose situation. Men who exhibit masculinity are labeled toxic. Men who suppress masculinity become unattractive. Women who admit biological preferences are called traitors. Everyone's miserable trying to fight their own nature. Research countries with healthiest gender relations. Find cultures that celebrate both masculine and feminine qualities, without labeling traditional traits as toxic or oppressive. These societies have higher birth rates, relationship satisfaction. Maybe balance is better than elimination. The uncomfortable truth I've discovered. Feminism may have accidentally killed male attractiveness by pathologizing natural masculine traits that create desire. We've created a generation of men afraid to be men, and women unable to feel turned on by the result. Not saying we should return to 1950s gender roles, but maybe we can have equality without eliminating polarity. Men can be confident without being controlling. Women can be attracted to masculinity without being oppressed. Biology and politics don't have to be enemies. Current dating culture is failing everyone. Men afraid to be masculine, women unable to feel desire. Both genders trying to force attraction patterns that don't work. Maybe it's time to acknowledge biological realities and stop shaming people for natural attraction patterns. The answer to "Did feminism kill male attraction?" might be more complicated than yes or no, but the evidence suggests we've overcorrected in ways that hurt both men and women. Time to find new balance between equality and biology. Now I'm researching healthy masculinity instead of toxic masculinity, teaching students about polarity rather than elimination, helping both genders embrace their natural qualities without shame, oppression, or political correctness. Maybe we can have equality and attraction. My feminist journey led to unexpected conclusion that fighting biology in service of ideology creates more problems than it solves. Maybe true liberation means accepting who we really are, instead of trying to reprogram millions of years of evolution. The uncomfortable truth about feminism and attraction: you can't legislate desire or shame your way to chemistry. Biology exists whether we acknowledge it or not. Maybe it's time to work with nature instead of against it, and let both men and women be authentically themselves. Still believe in equality, just not at expense of sexuality. Both genders deserve to feel attractive and attracted, without political guilt or ideological shame. Because healthy relationships require both equality and polarity. Time to stop fighting evolution and start embracing balance. Watch how even therapy spaces start to notice the pattern. Clients don't say, "I'm depressed." They say, "I'm exhausted from pretending." Young men terrified of showing confidence because it might be called toxic. Young women terrified of wanting protection because it might be called weak. So they both overcorrect until no one recognizes anyone anymore. Just be yourself becomes bad advice because no one knows what that even means. Everyone building personas instead of relationships. One side performs vulnerability like a script, the other performs detachment like armor. We swipe, scroll, and ghost because it's easier than risking rejection. We laugh at romance because we secretly miss it. We sneer at tradition because we secretly crave meaning. Every generation before us built families on less comfort, but more courage. Now we drown in comfort, but starve for connection. We trade love stories for hookup culture, then wonder why we feel disposable. We push self-love endlessly, yet never feel truly seen by another. We cheer independence, but quietly ache for someone to depend on. We chase freedom, only to realize freedom without belonging feels like exile. Even the language we use betrays us: partner instead of lover, situationship instead of commitment. Everything's sanitized, safe, sterile, and utterly unromantic. Ask anyone in their 20s what they actually want. The answers are heartbreakingly similar. I want someone who chooses me. I want someone who stays. But we're all too scared to be the first to say it. So we build walls, post memes, and pretend it's all fine. Meanwhile, the loneliness epidemic grows louder than any political movement. Antidepressants can't replace a hug, and endless content can't replace a conversation. We are social creatures trying to solve emotional starvation with algorithms. And the algorithms don't care if we fall in love. They care if we keep scrolling. We are not broken for wanting connection. We are human. But humanity is being rewritten into data points and dopamine hits. Love used to be a risk worth taking. Now it's a vulnerability to avoid. Yet even now, beneath the irony and fear, desire still hums quietly. It's in the way we notice someone's eyes across a room. In the way a simple, "How was your day?" means more than 1,000 likes. In the way we still dream of a future with someone, even if we swear we don't believe in love anymore. Maybe the answer isn't in destroying gender or worshiping it, but in understanding it. Maybe men don't need to vanish, and women don't need to apologize. Maybe what we need is to remember how to meet each other halfway, with honesty instead of performance, with curiosity instead of contempt, with courage instead of cynicism. Because without that, We'll keep repeating the same story, lonelier each time. And one day we'll realize the war wasn't between men and women. It was between fear and love, and fear is winning.